raising money now harder than it used to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So you raised it. Congrats. How was it?
We only had working prototype of the product and that's it. A lot of venture funds will say too early in like half a year and a year, come to us, let's talk later, but like so far, not interested. What my co-founder eventually did was rolled out in EWOR. This is like Y Combinator of Europe. The majority of the sales that we had was passive sales. Having the website, speaking about DC7 and so on, people will find us. However, of course, we want to change the strategy.
AI is a great help. Investors expect you to be lean. Why then ask for investors' money? Because if investors expect you to be lean, then why do you need investors?
The question is the time of the execution. You can be lean, you need to talk to customers, prioritize feature, you design those features, implement and test it, support the customers, they have questions, and so on and so on. It's impossible to do that on your own with like enterprise customers. And also you need to go fast, so you need those resources. The perfect picture is when you don't need investors at all and you're like completely bootstrapping everything. You can go viral with TikTok and have your application installed with millions of customers. But we're playing in a different space. So you can't go viral with DC7.
Why build the company? Why build the business? Why build the startup? You can work in some company, in some corporation and build a side project.
Depends on your goals. I was thinking the same. Okay, I'm going to just grab the corporate ladder. Nah, that's not the game I want to play. Running a business, not for everybody. If you can't put 5K of investments into trying out something, then you're not risk tolerant enough for that.
Yes. Then back to the point. You guys had a pretty good founder market fit. You used to work at Bolt and you used to work in very similar area.
Not really.
Yes. Then back to the point. So you used to work at Bolt for the last couple of years, I guess, for about 3 years.
It's more like 3.5, something like that.
Okay. 3.5. And you used to work in very similar area, like KYC, KYB, onboarding of drivers.
Not really. Used to work at the billing team. So billing is creating invoices for all the services that we create between all the parties, basically. If you imagine the food delivery, then you have a restaurant, a courier, eater, and Bolt themselves, and you need to come up with a set of invoices because, like, depending on the billing model, who is owning money to whom. But in the middle of the process, I realized that what you should do is basically onboard couriers and drivers to the company, first of all. And second, you need to make sure that they're legal persons, valid persons, because a lot of people will provide some shady details or like at least incomplete details and you need to verify them. And then at the end of the year, you need to report their earnings according to the DC7 regulation. And this is the problem that I faced in Bolt. And that was kind of inspiration to do my own thing.
And you're not the only one in the company. There are also other people.
Well, first of all, I have a co-founder whom I met at Bolt as well, Johan. And there are a couple of developers already, and there are a couple of other people. So there are advisors, and there's a guy who is doing marketing stuff for us and customer support at the same time. Because in startup, you need to wear multiple hats.
Everything sounds interesting. And the point of this episode is that you guys start the startup in 2025. It seems like...
technically, it was 20th of 2024.
End of 2024, beginning of 2025, you guys start the startup. It seems like the, let's say, investing climate or the environment is a little bit different. Nowadays, it's less often that you would see that someone starts a startup. What I want to explore in this episode is how to come up with an idea. So is there any story behind how you and your co-founder, how you guys decided, hey, this would be a nice idea? Like, did you actively explore an idea or just one day you chatted and decided, hey, this would be a really good?
Well, the story was that we didn't explore any ideas itself. It was just that we faced a problem at Bolt, a real one, with proven scale. And we saw how much effort it cost to us to actually solve it. And like it wasn't reliable, it was ad hoc. And we basically realized that, okay, if Bolt has to do this, basically every single digital marketplace in Europe, and not only in Europe, because like Canada or UK and Australia, they have very similar regulations, they will need to solve it as well. We said, okay, sounds like a good opportunity. Also, it was some kind of a boring idea. You see people excited about like, I will do, I don't know, like AI-based calorie tracker, or I will do AI advisor, or AI-based legal advisor, like Harvey AI. And it's like, exciting, right? So what we do, you can be considered boring. It's like compliance, regulations on the border with accounting. And nobody considers this as fun, okay? But this is where, you know, a lot of opportunities reside, because the more boring the business, the less competition you basically have, the less people want to do that. And we were excited to do that, actually.
And I bet there are not that many people who actually know how to do it.
Yeah, basically you need to study a lot about the regulation itself, about the rules, how you do that, who should comply with these rules, and then talk to the tax authorities. And that's not a very easy task to do.
And once you came up with an idea, what did you do next? Did you try to validate it anyhow? Did you reach out to other companies other than Bolt?
Somehow, my co-founder had a lead in Netherlands of a potential client, and basically we started validating the idea with them. So I was okay, how you do onboarding of the driver. So that's a logistic company. So they have expeditors, basically drivers who like, do expedition themselves. And what they need to do is first of all onboard drivers. So you get a person, you get their contact information, you get their data, documents. So ID documents, and you take a selfie, you make sure that this is actually the same person. And then you need to take some photos of their vehicles so that you make sure that they have something to drive actually. So that's one part. Second part, as I already said, you need to report on behalf of them to the tax authorities at the end of the year. So we started talking like, hey, let's do that together. Let's figure out what is the like best optimal solution for that, how to onboard drivers, how to report stuff, how like you can give us the financial data that we will be able to create data files for you so that you can report. And when we started, it was just the ability to create an XML file, because like what the EC7 regulation is, you create XML files, and in this XML file, you will have objects which describe the earnings per year per supplier. Okay, so it will be a line where it says like first name, last name, birth date, birthplace, personal tax identification, earnings per each quarter, taxes per each quarter, and commissions per each quarter. So what we implemented first was, okay, fill in this CSV file, fill in the CSV template, upload to our platform, and get the files so that you can submit it. And now it is improving at a pretty fast pace. So first of all, no CSV. Like right now we can accept XLS files because there are a lot of technical troubles with, especially with people on Windows with encodings and so on and so on. You can't basically explain them how to make the encoding conversions on their computer. So that's a churn. So we're like moving out of that. So with XLS files, it's easier. But what we're doing now is adding the import feature where you can basically add any data source whatsoever, be it Google Sheets, be it your CRM, be it, I don't know, Stripe, be it some other data sources, so that we can import the data, understand the mapping of this data, and create the report for you. So that's one improvement. Second improvement, which is works actually fine, is the automatic submission. So you don't need to download the files anymore. You just press the button, the files goes to the tax authority, and then sometime later you will get a feedback like it was accepted or it was rejected, you need to correct it, and so on.
And talking about the idea, like in our product community, there are some people who also want to start some side project or maybe startup, and they come up with all sorts of ideas. But it seems like many of them kind of stop at the validation of idea step. Like, for example, they validate the idea, but then they face many challenges, or like the initial idea that they had in mind doesn't look exactly the same as what the reality is, what in reality people actually need. Did you have this moment at all that we have one idea of how the solution would work?
Yeah, sure. Well, initially, the DC7 reporting was not, the reporting itself was not the first idea. What we want to solve first was driver onboarding. And we started with, collecting the documents and so on and so on. But we discovered very fast that it's not the thing that is required right now, because you can basically do a lot of like no code or third party solutions to do that. You can use Verif for face verification. You can use Fountain for data collection and so on and so on. And that's fine. Okay. So that's not a pain that is like incredibly hurtful right now. But what was hurtful at this point is the DC7, because that was completely new stuff, right? Nobody was doing this properly automated. Of course, you can go to the big four, but they will basically do that manually. So we quickly understand, okay, well, actually, while we're building KYC stuff, we should be building this reporting. And we sat down and very quickly came up with the implementation. The first implementation was pretty raw from the technical perspective, because we were partnering with some agency that would help us to implement it. And like what you actually do is data transformation. Okay, so you have like this CSV or XLSX files with columns. You need to transform it into the XML file. How it is properly implemented right now is that you have an object mapper basically, and you map the columns first of all to objects, and then you convert the objects into the XML through this XML generation libraries. But how it was implemented in the beginning, we would just take the XML file template and then fill it in with the values from the CSV file directly, like without intermediate transformation, because it was faster to implement and we needed like really fast. So that was very ugly implementation, but it allowed us to create a product in the first place and start selling it. So basically validating the product market fit for that. So as much as we love proper engineering, that's not always the case where it brings you to the results.
Could you share some numbers, like how much time did it take to build this proof of concept?
Takes a month. My time was only the free time from work, of course, like weekends, evenings, and so on and so on. But we had this guy on the contract who's doing stuff for us. If you don't have time, then you need to put in money to do that. So yeah, some part of the personal funding, of course, went into that.
Okay, interesting one. Like some people are concerned in like investing in the project early on, but you basically hired the person to build the proof of concept. Was it that you were very convinced about the idea, or you just had an opportunity, you had enough free cash flow to invest?
Well, there were no cash flow. It's basically like the only cash you have is the income from your job, right? So, and then you just call it out. You say, okay, that's an investment in the potential future, which in our case paid out, right? So, well, if you can't put, I don't know, like 5K of investments into like doing something or trying out something, then you're not risk tolerant enough for that. Okay. So probably then doing your own thing is not what you would enjoy doing, right? Because I'm a very young entrepreneur from this perspective, okay? But even I understand that what it takes is that you need to be crazy enough to believe that you're going to execute it better than anyone else, okay? So it's kind of naive, but it is required at the same time. Like,
you need to be crazy.
Imagine Marcus being 19 years old saying like, fuck it, I'm gonna build like the company of Bolt that will be a huge company in 10 years, right? And he did it. Like, how crazy you should be at 19 years old to do that.
Yes. I think I saw some podcast or interview where he was saying that he had some money from parents for his studies, and then he decided, okay, I will not study. I will take this money and invest in Bolt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how happy would be my parents back when I was 19.
Well, again, this is the evaluation of your own belief in yourself and in what you're doing, right? So, I mean, nobody would say ever to me, 15 years, you should start your own thing. Nobody ever told me. And like my wife was saying like, hey, I'm not a fan of this stuff. So like, I don't want you to run your own business. So, but well, you do what you have to do, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, let's put it this way, you and your co-founder, you guys had a pretty good founder market fit. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
You understood kind of the market. You probably had some network in the area. If, let's say, now you need to find new sales or you need to sell this, the product that you have, would it be difficult for you to find new leads, or how would you approach it?
Well, what we going like the majority of the sales that we had was passive sales. So it's just, having the website, speaking about DC7 and so on, and people will find us. And yeah, this is how we generated sales so far. However, of course, we want to change the strategy and go with active selling, reaching out to the companies and saying, "Hey, you definitely have this problem, so let us help you."
You mentioned that people found you. It's very interesting because in my eyes, you're a very young startup, like very young. And like I saw the website, but I didn't see like much marketing activity as in like what do you
Yeah,
do?
yeah. One thing that we're doing with I remember the feature that I told you that we are able to submit files directly to the tax authorities. So we're doing this through a partner, through basically an accounting firm in the Netherlands who have this direct connection. And basically they helped us to reach out to potential customers in the Netherlands. And through this, people started saying, yeah, we're going to do this. But right now we're expanding. We have clients from Belgium, from Germany, from other European countries. Yeah, it's kind of working through the network effect, basically. So people talk to each other like, hey, we use this company to solve this problem. And they say, okay, probably I need to do the same.
And yeah, I guess the industry itself, or the DC7 accounting, billing, invoicing, the market is quite small. Like everyone kind of knows everyone. So network effect can be reached. Do you have any more specific plan how to do sales?
Well, what we're going to do is the combination of like reaching out and content marketing, basically. So you already can see on the LinkedIn and Twitter that we're posting some stuff about like what DC7 is, what do you need, what is the vision for the future of the compliance, like that it should not be tedious and manual and cumbersome and expensive. No, it should be streamlined, it should be automated, it should use AI to help you with some data mappings and so on and so on. And like this one stuff. Second stuff is actually making the sales actively. So we're hiring a person to do that. Like what exactly they're gonna do, I'm not sure. So we're discussing the commercial strategy right now.
Like honestly, first time I heard about your startup, I had the feeling that you would have a very like killer competitive advantage as your network. You and your co-founder, you kind of know the industry, you know some
Mhm.
people in other companies. Do you think that network would help you or helps you already?
That's a good question. So it definitely helps from some perspective. So some of the potential clients were there because of our network, our connections. Some of the companies that would help us solve some particular problems going out of this network as well. Some angel investors are going from my close connections too. So yeah, but it's not like changing the whole landscape, right? So that's some part of the contribution to the overall progress.
So you already mentioned the pre-seed. So you raised it. Congrats. Big congrats.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, what is how was it? Could you walk us through?
Yeah, so this is the most tough experience I would say that I had, and my co-founder probably had as well. So, like, imagine this: you have a small company, you have a handful of customers, and you need resources to grow, right? So you need developers, you need something to do sales for you, you need people who would work on the content marketing. Eventually, you will need some compliance people, and so on and so on. So you basically need to raise some money. Where do you find it? Of course, like the first idea that comes to your mind, like, this is FNDEF, family and friends, right? But that's not optimal because, like, if you fail, people will lose their money and you will screw the relationship. So you basically don't want to go that way. Also, they don't have any expertise in what you're doing or how to do business or how to properly invest the money and how to set the whole things up. So you probably want to go with professional investors. Of course, the perfect picture is when you don't need investors at all and you're like completely bootstrapping everything. There are multiple examples of how you can do that, probably in the consumer space, in B2C, where you can just create an app, especially nowadays, it's relatively easy. You can create an app with a smart content strategy. Like you can go viral with TikTok and have your application installed, okay, with millions of customers. So that's ideal person. But we're playing in a different space. So you can't go viral with DC7 reports, okay? That's kind of strange, all right? So there are no like billions of accountants out there in TikTok just scrolling for the related content.
Maybe there, huh? You never know.
Maybe. So yeah, so you need resources basically. What you need to do, okay, what the first step you do is you try to find out a list of venture firms that would be potentially interested. And then you need to come up with some data about yourself. So what are you doing? What is the total addressable market? What is your key advantage? What is your winning strategy? And so on and so like who the team is and so on. And then you start reaching out to people. So what you do for like weeks and months, you just send the emails, hey, we're supplied, this is what we're doing, this is what is the total addressable market, this is our pitch deck, let's talk. And when we had it first, it was pretty tough because we barely had any revenue whatsoever. Like we just started, we only had working prototype of the product and that's it. And a lot of people, a lot of venture funds will say like too early, like not interested so far, maybe in like half a year and a year, come to us, let's talk later, but like so far not interested. Because like, they're just not doing the small checks first of all, right? And they expect you to have some revenue, some traction, some proven product market fit.
You were reaching out before you had sales.
Yeah. So like the first step. What my co-founder eventually did was rolled out in EWOR. This is like Y Combinator of Europe. Okay, so that's a startup accelerator. So that's a fellowship. They give you support. They train you. They get you onto their events outside, so you can work in a closed environment with other startup founders and so on and so on. And EWOR is very challenging. So they basically, out of the all applicants, they accept 0.1%. Okay, so that's a fierce competition, all right. And my co-founder eventually got into it, and we got the first funding from them. So first money to actually build some prototypes. Eventually, like by the February of 2025, okay, we gained some traction. We had some customers filing the reports for 2024 with us, and we want to go big. Okay, and we started, the fundraising again to get a proper round, like more money to actually hire the team full time and so on. So again, what you would do, you would participate in the events, you would start reaching out to the investors again, saying, hey, this is a refreshed pitch deck. There are more customers right now, more traction right now. We have like some strategic agreements and so on and so on. And then again, that's infinite calls, like the same call all over again, like, hey, we're supplied, TM, blah, 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 this is traction, and so on. So there are multiple events. There are like closed events that EWOR organizes. There are open events like Star Conference. It happens in March in Switzerland, in St. Gallen. So we went there together. The main purpose of this event for startups is basically be able to pitch your idea, your company, at the stage where like hundreds of investors look at you. Okay, and you have only 3 minutes. That's literally 3 minutes that you need to pitch the idea. And we had this idea of how to start the stuff because it's like 10 founders, one by one, 3 minutes each, pitching their ideas. We had the idea like how to stand out. So Johan started the pitch from like pretending he has a call, saying, hey, this is my food delivery courier. And then I would come up to a stage with the pizza box, hanging him it over and he can lie down, say, oh, thank you very much. And then he asks like, hey, out of this crowd, who knows how much does it actually cost for Uber to onboard? And nobody gives a damn, of course. And I say, oh, actually, that's a pretty high number, okay? And then he would go into the pitch deck explaining, hey, there are multiple drivers, there are problems with the documents, there are problems with the reporting, and it's all a hassle, and you need to go with costs down with that. And there are millions of enterprises which actually will eventually need it. And here it's applied, we're going to solve it. And here's our team, here's our traction, here's our ARR. And yeah, let's work together. And after that, you will go and have another 50 calls from all the investors, and there will be funds that will tell you, okay, like this is what we're doing, but we don't know the industry. Okay, so they're not about digital marketplaces. They're like, for example, about biotech. So they don't understand your business. So, but eventually there will be some funds that will say, okay, this is our topic. We know what you're doing. We believe in your idea. We see a strong team, and like this looks promising. And your goal as a startup founder is not find a single fund, but that's enough, okay? What your goal is to be oversubscribed, basically. So to make the investors compete to give you money, right? Because essentially what you're doing is you're selling part of your company. This is what investments is, right? So they give you money, you give them shares of your company, because the promise is that in several years it will be 10 times, 100 times. This is what a venture capitalist would do, okay? So they would invest money in like 100 startups so that one can be super big and make it for every other 99 others. So you have a market basically. So there's a market of capital and market of businesses, and you need to find a deal. And the better circumstances, the better deal you can make yourself as a founder, the better you will eventually be, right? Trading less a part of the company for this money, and you have an ability to pick the investor. Because some investment funds will just give you money, okay? And that's the least of their value, okay? Because there's actually some money out there. What you're looking for partners that would support you, that would help to navigate you, that will give you the network, give you the customers, give you consultants, give you all the support that is required from legal perspective, sales perspective, CTO's coaching, the different programs of like credits for AWS, some free products, free R0 tiers. I mean, paid but sponsored, and so on and so on. So you basically choose which fund is the best fit for you, because they will give you knowledge, they give you programs, they give you network, they give you fellowships, give you customers. So this is what you want to do.
Okay. And then just to finish it, you just, at some point, you just raised money. Like you picked certain VCs, which kind of seemed to be a good fit, like money-wise.
So we basically narrowed down to, I don't remember, 5 or 7 funds, which were okay to go with. And then we basically prioritized based on our understanding what's the best value for us.
You covered a lot. I just want to ask some follow-up questions about it. So, okay, do you think it makes sense for every startup to go and join Accelerator, Incubator, or something like this?
It is very hard to answer this particular question. Like, does every startup should do this? Probably no. What I can tell is that it definitely helped us, because it helps my co-founder to understand better how we should execute. They provided some resources. Definitely they provided the network and the possibility to participate in the events where we eventually found the customer. So that was definitely a useful experience. So if like your first time or second time startup founder, definitely makes sense.
Say EWOR, does it work like YC? Like you join the Accelerator Incubator for a share of your company, they give you some money.
They give you a convertible loan. They say they give you money, like that's a loan, but that's a percent-free loan, I think. And then once you come up with the next stage with the pre-seed, So
Mhm.
they got this loan converted into the shares of your money, into the shares of your company with the new valuation. Okay.
Okay. Um, Network. It sounds like this accelerators, they're like university. Because when I went to university, everyone told me that whatever you learn there, it's useful, but not as much as people that you will
Yeah,
meet and talk
that's
to.
definitely the case. Because you can find like fellow founders, learn from their experience. You can find like essentially like if you get lucky, then the people from this acceleration program, they will build their own businesses, okay? And in several years there will be a community of these founders that talk to each other, share their success stories, share their like learnings, share their problems, and you can essentially help you out. So that's raising a new generation of business owners.
I wonder if that's one more success factor of YC Combinator, like because many of their graduates, let's say, then are successful founders, and then they kind of are all in the same community, in the same club.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what people will tell you about anything, not only the business, but if you want to be a successful engineer, have a friendship with engineers, okay? Want to be a successful salesperson, hang out with people who do sales well, okay? So if you want to run business, but you hang out with people who play video games the whole day, then you're in the wrong company, right?
Yeah. Uh, do you think of any other accelerator program?
I don't know. I wasn't researching this stuff, so I was very focused on technical thing. So it's more like of my co-founder experience of going through this accelerator. And so we had some conversations with other accelerators, but you always need this vibe check. Okay, so how comfortable do you feel with the person? Do they ask the appropriate question? Do you feel that you can work actually together? Because if you can't stand the person, nothing gonna fly.
There's a question about how you raised money in the sense of, I don't know if you have experience or if you heard from anyone, like, is raising money now harder than it used to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Well, I didn't raise any money like 5 years or
Yeah.
10 years ago. But what I heard is that in the US, especially, it was extremely easy. So you could walk in with a deck of 5 slides and walk out with a couple of millions in the pocket, like no problemo.
Nice.
But that's crazy, right? So to me, it's just insane how you can give the money based on the deck. You don't have any at least a prototype, a single customer who would like express any desire to actually want it. But
Must
yeah,
be a really good
probably
deck.
that's the limitation of my understanding. And with some people, it can definitely work. So if you look at Ilya Sutskever, right? They don't have
Yes.
any single product whatsoever. Maybe something in the works inside, but the investors just trust the name. That's it. So if you have a huge name, probably you can do that. But if you're no one, then it will be very challenging. Also, all the economic conditions, of course, do not help you as well. People are worried about the inflation, about the availability of the money. They're worried about, current war situations. There are some other conflicts, so it's like not an atmosphere where you want to do a lot of business. And there are some looking at defensive capabilities. So all
Did you get,
this drone stuff, AI protection measures, cyber protection, that if you're in this field, you probably will experience easier raising than for every other field right now.
did you get this feeling when talking to your potential investors that they are more risk aversive or
Exactly. So that was the constant feeling that you would get. They would say, hey, we need you to get like, I don't know, 500,000 of attraction. Look, if I have 500,000 of attraction, why the fuck would I need you in the first place?
was there anything else that investors expected from you? For example, maybe AI thingy. Now it's hot.
Well, definitely that's a hot topic. Basically, if you're not using AI, you're probably missing on something. So you kind of need to use it anyway. But that's not like a problem per se, because you even don't need to be very creative to apply AI, right? So it's like kind of very like comparing to the blockchain technology, which doesn't have any viable use case from slinging money for drugs, with criminals, they don't have any application whatsoever. So it's like it just died. And AI, it's a completely different thing because you can apply it to many different stuff. I don't know. Go and create a service that will create chickens out of the photos. Create, I don't know, scoring applications using AI. Create detection mechanism. Create sophisticated games where you have characters who will talk naturally and not with hard-coded lines. Okay, so that's infinite possibilities. So investors expect you to use AI because it makes sense, actually. Like one of the things that we want to apply AI to is to have a good mapping between the imported fields from like the data sources and the target fields. So some of the things you can map yourself, but for the others, you need the help of the AI to provide a better recommendations. So this is one of the things that we're exploring right now. So yeah, sure.
Okay. Because I heard stories that investors expect that you don't hire, like before you used to get money and hire, I don't know, 20, 100 people, whatever. And now there's other expectation that you actually wouldn't hire 20, 100 people. You'll stay lean, like 3 people as you are now, or maybe, okay, hire 2 more people, but not 20, 30, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. The notion that you need to hire like 30 engineers, 50 engineers comes from the times where the money were cheap and you need to show the investors that you put the money to a place. And that goes to a crazy spiral where you hire engineers, they don't have enough product work, and they start doing technical work, and they will introduce technical complexity because they have time to, and they have their hands itching. They need to do something, so they would put your like Kubernetes clusters, and it will be super expensive, and eventually you will fail as a startup because you just went with Kubernetes from day one. So now, of course, there is an expectation that you're lean, and this is what we do from day one exactly. So like on the minimal resources, with minimal time, with the most usage of AI tools, like doing the prototypes, doing the boring coding parts, and so on and so on. So it like we leverage AI a lot, and not only in the coding, but in the helping with content or generating ideas or reviewing the legal papers and so on and so on. So and it's amazing how faster you can go with such tools. So like as I already told you, like out of the recording, like I was working until 2 p.m. this week, basically the whole week. But I leveraged AI a lot. Like for some of the like very simple example. So you need to come up with a form, like 4 buttons, 4 input controls, 1 button, validation, sending the request to the backend, having the backend implemented, and then like some success messages. So you would probably spend a couple of hours typing it manually, ensuring everything works, testing it, and so on and so on. Now you can do that in 15 minutes. So you just say like, hey, to AI, like I'm using JetBrains Journey. I need this form, these fields, like these values, the validation. This is the API call. Do that for me. 3 minutes, it's done, and it's done reliably. Okay, so it fucking works right off the box. Moreover, it already uses all the CSS, all the styles, and it looks naturally in your product. Okay, and it is aligned well. So you don't need to spend half an hour moving, I don't know, 3 pixels to make it look fine. It's just out of there. So you can do much more in less time. The only problem that I see is that people would brag like, hey, I created this whole solution or like blah, 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 blah. Well, it doesn't actually work. It works only when you understand very well what is the end result and how it should work in the like end to end, like from the data that you get from the user to the end result and what is the appropriate user experience for that. AI can help you with that, but as it tends to agree with you, like whatever idea you would propose, they would say, hey, great idea. So you need to be actually very critical about what you're seeing from this AI stuff. But it's a great help anyway. So once you understand, like for this feature that I'm talking about, I spent probably a couple of weeks just thinking about how it should work because that's a big framework. Like the task that we're solving is we need to solve the problem of importing general data into our storage, merge into all other general data whatsoever that can come in into the system, and then generating reports out of it. So it's not something that, well, if you ask ChatGPT how to solve this problem, it will give you 10 different receipts how you can do that. And you, first of all, need to pick up the appropriate one. Second, limit it to the implementation that is viable to be done in very short periods, so you can come up with a viable product that you can test with your customers and not spend a lot of time doing this. And then something that you can build upon once you prove that that's all right. So probably I spent 2 weeks just thinking about how to do that in the first place, coming up with the flow, with the UX, and so on and so on. Multiple discussions. But once you understood what you need to do, that's pretty fast. So again, I managed to do that in a week and like connected several data sources, managed to import that, implemented the merge feature, implemented the report generation feature in just a week using AI tools. So yeah, that's a great leverage right now.
And then probably a big question that people would have, AI is a great help, and investors expect you to be lean. Actually, then there's a question, why then ask for investors' money? Because if investors expect you to be lean, then why do you need investors?
Well, the question is the time of the execution. So yeah, you can be lean and you can be a single man job, but you need to do a lot of things at the same time. You need to talk to customers, that you need prioritize feature, you need to design those features, you need to implement and test it, then you need to support the customers that start using your product and they have questions, and so on and so on. So it's impossible to do that on your own with the like enterprise customers, even with the small ones. So you need the team for that. And also you need to go fast, because otherwise the competitors will come up with the features, grab the market, and you're done. Okay. So you need those resources to expand and accelerate and grab the market in a timely manner.
Could we talk a bit more specifically about your like immediate next steps, let's say over the next half a year, now that you raised?
Sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to roll out this data import feature. So basically allowing companies to give the access to their data so that we can automatically ingest, merge, and create reports for them. So that should be a powerful feature. The next step is, of course, expanding to other countries. So basically having the connections to the tax authorities in other countries other than Netherlands to make it happen and provide this service. And then more AI usage in the product. Okay, so smarter solutions, smarter mappings, faster document recognition, and so on and so on. So
interesting that you mentioned to expand to a new country. There is
well,
this school of
that's
thought
natural because this regulation is across Europe, right? So the more countries you can cover, the better you are, basically with the same solution.
Okay. That's because I was about to say that some people say that first you focus on one place, on one market, on one segment. You make sure you root in it, and then you go expand to new country, new segment, whatever.
Yeah, well, we're pretty confident in the Netherlands implementation already. So
wow, that's interesting. Okay, and
sure.
So will you actually hire engineering team?
Yeah, so I actually have an offer accepted from one of the engineers. There's another offer accepted for a QA position, and I'm talking to several people right now about the lead developer position. So yeah, we will have like 3 engineers and QA and me as like engineering managers basically for the team.
Do you guys plan to hire any product manager, product position?
No, not yet. Sorry. Like Johan is playing all this product role and he is doing great so far.
Okay, dear product community, wait.
Yeah, wait a little bit. Like wait half a year and then follow our LinkedIn page.
But you said half a year. Is there something behind this number, or it was just
no, nothing? I'm just speculating.
Okay, and yeah, a little bit about. So it was about the startup, but now a bit about you.
Sure.
Like you and your co-founder, maybe mostly you. What was the reason? Like, why start a startup in 2025?
Well, it's not related to 2025 per se. It's more related to my personal growth and experience in Bolt and the desire of doing my own thing. So, like Bolt is a great place. Don't get me wrong. So it's challenging, it's exciting, it has a great mission, and like pays well. To be frank, It's a great place. But at some point, I understood that like doesn't drive me that much because I don't feel the full ownership. So I decided that I need to build my own. And it feels great so far because like there's nobody to save you if you just don't work hard enough or don't focus well enough. So, and it drives me a lot. That gives a lot of energy. So it just feels great. Okay. Even despite all the like, hustles of like legal stuff and papers and, like in order to hire a person, even with B2B model, you need like 3 or 4 different papers to sign because you need to still be compliant. Okay, so you need to go through the procedures like sign code of conduct, sign NDA, sign the contract, sign other papers, and so on and so on. And it's like, well, I would prefer actually building stuff, but you have to do this instead. So, but yeah, like it takes what it takes. All right.
Do you actually enjoy the fact that now you are, like before you used to be a senior engineer manager? Yes. Now you're a co-founder. Like people say that once you're a software engineer, you code a lot. Then you're a software engineering manager. Then you code less and do more people management. Now you're a CTO co-founder. Do you code? Do you
Yeah,
do
of
people
course
management?
I do. Of course I do. Like
Okay.
that's impossible because if you don't like what I like about that is that you can actually explore ideas, you can apply system design basically to solve the problem in the first place,
Mhm.
lay down the groundwork and then let the team to shape it in the appropriate form and finish it up and polish. Because like one of my downsides is that I'm excited about starting new things, but then once you need to polish it up and clean up all the little details, right? So I get bored to death. I'm like, I can't fucking handle it. Like, but I recognize this. Like, I acknowledge this is my downside. Like, I need to work on this. I'm doing this, but it's like not happening as fast as I would like. But this is an opportunity where you can, again, lay down the groundwork, solve the problem in principle, and then say, okay, now I understand how it should be done, and then let the team to actually implement all the rest of the meat while you
Mhm.
lay down the backbone. Okay, so yeah.
And what is your expectation of what you should do and your co-founder should do?
Well, Johan is covering a lot of the product shaping, talking to customers and finding the customers in the first place. Also working on the marketing strategy. Probably he's doing like the marketing and the sales strategy. So he probably doing like 80%, and I'm contributing. So I'm helping him like doing the reviews, getting my own ideas and so on and so on. But that's the major opportunity for him. Also, as you know, the CEO's like first responsibility is to make sure that company never runs out of money. He's doing a great job for that. So that's all right. And for my responsibility is basically the technical excellence and making sure that we have all the technology and people in place so that we can build a product that is loved by the customers. That's the responsibilities.
And no product manager.
Well, you know how Telegram is built without product managers at all.
And look at where Telegram is.
Yeah, 1 billion customers. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, joking, jokes. And yeah, for startups, what would you say is the pro and con of building your own startup?
Okay. Well, it's extremely challenging. Okay. So again, you need to be blatant and believe in yourself and in your product and the ability to pull it off. You need to work a lot. So like basically you do nothing but work for like a long period of time. And you need to be ready for a lot of, emotional pendulum swing. So it's like you signed up a new customer. Hooray! Like we're celebrating for like 2 hours and then you see that there's a competitor rolling out the feature that you were working on for a long time. Like, why I'm doing this in the first place? And like it happens every day. Okay, so it's like up and downs all the time. So you need to be prepared for that and like just be ready that it happens and brace yourself. So, and again, a lot of work and no stressful environment. You're eventually essentially accountable for everything. So if your developer makes a mistake and there's a problem in production, that's your problem now. Okay. So you need to, first of all, know how to remediate it. Second, you need build systems that you minimize the probability of those stuff. Third one, that you hire the people who are able to fix those mistakes fast and learn from them, and that you can build a system where you can build a product. Essentially, the job of every manager, be it like a EM in Bolts or a CTO in a startup or a director of engineering, it essentially builds a system, but not a technical system, but a social system where you have people working for you. Okay. So, and that's more challenging than building technical stuff. Technical stuff is easy. Okay. So you can
Yeah,
learn it
yeah,
pretty fast. But like handling people and motivating and encouraging them, making sure they're doing the right thing with the right tools, that's much more challenging stuff. Okay.
yes. Yeah, I remember when I wrote my master thesis, there was a professor. He told us how to write the thesis, and he said that in social sciences you must provide like a lot more references than in more applied sciences. In applied science, here's a pen, I dropped the pen, gravity law, confirmed. In social sciences, the person looked at the green color and felt something. So please provide 50 researches about the perception of color,
Okay.
because it's very there's a lot of ambiguity in it.
Okay.
So yeah, I get why people management might be a little more difficult. And question about you. What is your personal goal or motivation to build it?
Okay.
Or
Okay.
maybe
This
rather
is
goal.
stuff that I like to talk about.
Oh,
So when you grow up in your career, especially when you start, all you want to do is write code because that's fun. Okay. So you build some stuff, you make computer do work for you. And you're like, hey, I am the master of the computer. Okay. So I can make it do things. And that's very exciting. But the more you grow, the more you work, you would like essentially see that there are bigger and bigger and bigger problems. Okay. So like one thing is to write a class that makes a job. Next thing is like, how do you write a CI/CD pipeline that delivers this stuff to production? Then what you do to make it observable and reliable, and so on and so on. So the technical challenge increases. All right. But then at a certain point, you see the people problems, like how you build up the team, how you motivate them, how you make sure they keep along, how you make sure you actually build this thing that helps the business, and so on. So it grows and grows and grows. At the same time, while you're proceeding in life, you face bigger problems as well. So once you're a student, your biggest problem is to make your home task, okay, and attend the lecture and actually keep showing up every day.
yes.
But then you graduate, then you start a family, then you start having kids, then you leave your own country to live in another one. The scale of the problems, they increase. And the big value is to be able to withstand all those difficulties. Care about yourself, about your family, about your community, about your country. And like the way how you do that, at least how I concluded this for myself, is that you grow to the best of your abilities. All right. So you become the smartest, the toughest, the richest, the most powerful thing that you can ever be. Okay. And that's your ultimate goal, to realize your potential. So if you, again, I like playing video games, but if you don't do anything other than that, you're wasting your potential. So your obligation to yourself, to your family, and to your community, to to actually realize it and to become the most powerful person that you can ever be, to solve the problems. So be it like starting with providing for your family and ending up like with helping the community, your city, and so on and so on. So the way how you do it, like you either grow professionally and become, I don't know, like a manager or an architect or like whatever you can find there, or you start your own business and, run a company. Eventually, you'll become responsible for providing the people you hired with a job, with a compensation. You're responsible to build a business that pays taxes to the country, so we can, provide you with healthcare, with the roads, with the protection, and so on and so on. So this is what you should become, okay? And this is what I found as a fulfilling stuff, okay? So I want to be like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure if I should voice it, but I want to build a billion-dollar company, okay, a unicorn, not for the sake of money, but for the sake of implementing the potential, okay? So
It's a way to realize the
yeah,
ambition, the
yeah,
potential.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I heard this opinion recently that why build a company, why build a business, why build a startup, whatever. You can work in some company, in some corporation, and build a side project, and side project is your realization.
Again, depends on your goals. So I was thinking the same for a certain period of time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just grab the corporate ladder, but then I realized like, nah, that's not the game I want to play. I want to play a different game. So like running a business, not for everybody. And for a long time, I was thinking that's not for myself as well. But people grow, people change their minds. So that's all right.
Did you pinpoint or notice what exactly changed?
I think one of the pivotal conversations that I had a couple of years ago when we basically only recently came to Estonia, and there were like all sorts of troubles. Like I was on the temporary residence permit. I was like a fresh in boat, so we had some troubles inside the family. And I had a conversation with one of my friends. I basically told through all of this stuff, and then he asked me a question. Okay, what you can do about it? Okay, like what you want to do in the first place. And then I started realizing that instead of, complaining, just saying how terrible and hard life is, you basically need to change the mindset to like, okay, I will do whatever it takes to solve like any problems that I face here, and so on and so on. And it helps a lot. I can say that's a great mindset that helps you through hard stuff. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing the story. Now the question is I kind of want to lead to the end. And is there anything else you think we should mention about the startup?
I think that right now it's exciting time to actually try out ideas. So don't quit your job right away. Just try it out on the weekend. Okay, like go to, I don't know, Lovable and generate some application. See how easy it is to start right now. Like if you're not fan of coding, you can do that anyway, because all these AI agents right now can help you a lot to actually build stuff. You still need understanding what you need to build in the ends and how it should work in general, but that's a great helper. Like one of the things that I was like, the idea of me transitioning to management like many years ago was that I was bored to death with coding because it was like all over and over again, the same stuff. Like even with the different technologies, you will eventually build the same stuff. Doesn't matter, front end, back end, like doesn't matter. However, right now, all this AI stuff actually helps you to overcome the board stuff, and you can focus on business problems, on solving those problems, the most exciting things. And then if you need to write a mapper function that you just ask AI, like, hey, do this mapping between those list of fields, and that's it. And that's amazing, okay? That brings you back this joy of working on cool stuff. And at the same time, it makes you more powerful because you can do more things in less time. That's amazing time for opportunity. So go and explore. And even if you don't end up with your own company, with your own business or your own application, which makes like 30K MRR, then you will grab new skills and you will be more valuable at your own place right now. So yeah, go and explore. That's great opportunity right now. This is what I definitely recommend doing.
And since it's a podcast slightly about product management,
okay,
now I think it transforms a little bit. You mentioned a couple of times that for now you're not hiring product managers, and it's not your like first. It doesn't seem to be your first priority anyhow.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about product management? Do you think you would need to hire someone? Would you need a CPO or a person like that?
Oh, we don't know that yet. It will depend on the amount of customers and the exact demands. So like I cannot exclude the possibility. So how you do things in business is like you see a problem, you find a solution to this problem. Maybe it's an AI agent, maybe it's a product manager, maybe it's external stuff who would do a one-time job for you. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll look at the exact problems that we'll face. What I can tell at this point is that the most important lesson I saw during my careers regarding product managers is that in B2B, you need to realize that you cannot have a single customer having like more than 30% of your revenue, because then you eventually got locked up. And that's a huge risk for you. Okay. So you can essentially end up being just a development center for this particular company instead of running your own business. So you need to be very cautious about that. And another thing that I learned is that you need to vet clients. So not every person who wants to buy from you deserves the right to buy from you. So you need to, like, every deal that you do, it's not like getting leverage out of the client. The proper way of looking at it is partnership. Okay, you're going into the partnership. So you're helping them with a product, they're helping you with buying from you, enabling your business in the first place. Okay, so that's a mutual respected relationship that you need to maintain. And in any relationship, like if you can't stand the person, if you don't like the ethics, if you don't like the way how the person makes business, don't have a business with them. So like pick up your clients. And there are clients that you don't want to work with because of ethics. And there will be clients that are perfectly fine, but it's not a product that you want to build according to your vision. Like, for example, for us, we don't want to build a bespoke solution for logistic companies. Okay. This is not what we're doing. We're doing like onboarding for digital marketplaces. So what we can build is a generic solution for, like, let's say, uploading files. And if it fits a particular customer, then be it. But if it doesn't, then it's just not our customer. So pick up who you work with.
Right. It kind of falls into product vision, understand who
Exactly.
who your customer
If something does not align with your product vision, like there should be a big answer, like if you should do this in the first place.
And it's about understanding who your ICP is, who's your ideal client is.
That's an understanding of what you're actually building. What is your long-term vision? What company you want to become in several years?
Thank you. Anything else you would like to add?
No, not really. That's
amazing.
it.
Thank you very much for this podcast. It was very interesting and insightful. Yes. Please subscribe to tpd.e. Vladimir, you also have some socials?
Yeah, of course. It's Viv Всеволодович, basically everywhere. So Telegram, Twitter, GitHub, everything. Yeah, drop me DM if you're interested in anything. I can tell that we're still hiring for a lead developer position. So if you're interested, drop me some message. So yeah.
And if you are a digital marketplace and looking for a solution for onboarding couriers,
for onboarding and reporting, yeah, let me know.
Yes, not sponsored, by the way. Thank you.